Welcome back to What She Says Sports. It is Sunday night. Welcome, everybody. I hope y'all had a wonderful weekend. And if you're still weekending tomorrow, I hope you have fun too. All right. So you saw the title. I don't generally give a title because you just never know what we're going to discuss. Um, but on your way in, hit the like button. I'm this many away from 4,000. I already got a celebration planned for when we get there, probably by tomorrow. I just want to welcome everybody back. But if you saw the title, you saw the caption. I want to talk about what I see happening here, right? I see the Cleveland Browns, probably with the NFL hiding behind them, uh, getting ready to go to war with their not just their fans, with NFL fans. I was specific when I said NFL fans, right? Now, last couple of days ago, toward the end of last week, we talked about the Fun Fest and how Shedeur Sanders, is I use the term grateful, a very grateful young man, and he generally gives back. He brings joy to kids in general, right? But last week with the Fun Fest, right before minicamp, he returned to Cleveland. He had learned about an explosion, not just the fire, but an explosion at an apartment complex in one of an impoverished area in Cleveland, and he decided to put on a Fun Fest. He thanked the many people it took to put it together. And I was surprised. It was a long list, right? It wasn't just something and he just showed up. He took the time, the effort, yes, the finances, but he showed up in the flesh. And he said that was important to him. And people didn't want him to do such. Told him he shouldn't do it, right? So I had a line open. We have a bat phone, a phone specific for What She Said Sports. And I gave out the number and I asked people to call and let me know what it says to you. Leave me a message as to what it says to you that about Shedeur giving back to Cleveland's most impoverished area. Shedeur was not from Cleveland. There was no obligation. You would think, a lot of the sports community and other aspects of the community in Cleveland would have shown up because, again, there was an explosion. Someone lost their life trying to save two children. The children were saved, but the man that they have deemed a hero, he perished, right? So Shedeur just wanted to go over on a summer day, and he brought out food trucks. He brought out face painting. I saw a bunch of popsicles. Of course, there was music. He played football with these kids. They will never forget this. And one of those kids will likely end up playing football. They might actually make it to the league. They will never forget Shedeur. We talked about how Jason Tatum met LeBron James when he was young. And I think LeBron was in Cleveland. And he never forgot it. And look at where Jason Tatum is. So I opened up the line and I got one call I want to share. I got several. Surprisingly, I did get some good calls, but I wanted to pick one tonight and we'll listen to what they said. Now, what they said ties into the title, right? See, when Shedeur was in Cleveland and they went to the cooking event, remember the cooking event, Rooks and Cooks or something like that? There was a reporter kind of harassing Shedeur a little bit, in my opinion. I feel like she was being aggressive, and people use the term microaggressions, right? For the most part, asking him about Sanders Nation, saying that his fan base is loud and proud. I'm like, I'm black and I'm proud. Is that where we're going with this? So she asked him there, and you could see he was uncomfortable. He was sitting down trying to eat. She just kept hovering over him and just basically taking up his personal space, right? And she was like, well, your fan base, you have a fan base, they're loud and they're proud. What do you call them? He said he didn't know what she was referring to. She means his fans. See, Shedeur Sanders has 3 million fans and followers, right? And most of them seemingly are active, right? That means $250 million in jersey sales. Yeah, that's that, right? We talked about the prime equity, right? I said he should get 10% of his jersey sale, if not more, but at minimum 10% of his jersey sale. If you want to call it prime equity, I'm fine with that, but he should definitely get that, right? 250 million. What does that mean? That means his 3 million fans and followers are active. There are only 32 NFL teams. It takes 42 NFL teams, just 42 NFL stadiums, just to fill up Shedeur Sanders fans. So that $250 million is a reality that this young man brings more to the table than a skill set. I already shared with you that it was discussed during the season when he was at Colorado, his last season. He was supposed to be the #1 overall pick. Now, when OTA started after the tragic way he was treated in the draft, when OTA started, he immediately began to emerge as the best quarterback that Cleveland has. In fact, there are people that say that, right? There are fans in Cleveland that have said, well, I listened to y'all talk about him, but all I see is the young man is a class act. This was way before the Fun Fest. This was way before he went to John Marshall. Or, he probably went to John Marshall, but he went to other high schools, right? So this is just what he does. And then there's the whole KFC event. Right before we went live, I was looking at snippets of that, right? So we have Shiloh his video at KFC is gone viral, and he's excited because somebody signed his jersey. He was imitating Coach Prime, and his video was shared by ESPN Sports Center and Adam Schefter, right? Adam Schefter is an insider, right? I don't know if you want to call him an ESPN insider. I'm not sure he's an NFL insider, but Adam Schefter is the person I told y'all that basically said when we were after the combine that I can say with certainty that the Cleveland Browns are going to get a quarterback at #2. And then after the owner came out on March 31st, around April 2nd, it was Adam Schefter that said, well, I don't think they're going to get a quarterback now, because the owner said what? Right before that, we took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson. And I pointed out that is a lie. That is a flat out lie. Going into the 2024 season, Deshaun Watson had what? A winning record of 8-4. We'll save that conversation for another day. So when it comes to Shedeur, we've seen the NFL itself, right, try to suppress him, right? And 7.2 million people were lured to watch him be publicly humiliated and devalued and discriminated against, because that's what it is. Everybody else didn't get treated that way. Yes, Quinn Ewers was drafted the last quarterback, and he should have been around #4 or 5. But did you hear anybody disparage, defame Quinn Ewers, mock him, humiliate him? No. See, that's the difference, right? That's the difference. So when we get to Cleveland, that's when Cleveland learns that Shedeur Sanders has a massive fan base. Why they didn't know that already? They pre-draft with him extensively. When Adam Schefter said after the combine or near the end of the combine that the Cleveland Browns are going to take for certainty a quarterback, their franchise quarterback at #2, guess who he was talking about? The quarterback that the Cleveland Browns pre-draft with extensively, Shedeur Sanders. Now, Jerry sent me a clip today, in my opinion, that kind of shows that Shedeur was thinking he was by the end of the whole process. By the end of the process, right before the draft, Shedeur was thinking he's going to Pittsburgh or he's going to the Saints. Why? Because 30 days before the draft, the owner came out and said, what? We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun Watson. Hold us accountable, which means that's when they pivoted away from getting their franchise QB, which means that's when they pivoted away from Shedeur. And that's when you started hearing the language, oh, he's fouling to 21. He's fouling to the Saints. It's a timeline. It's documents. It's documentation out there, right? So what the NFL did not expect, what Cleveland clearly did not expect, is 3 million fans and followers, 250 million in jersey sales for one person, and we just got to training camp. That number's going to go up. If they change it, it's probably going to run it back at least 30 or 40 or 50% of it if he goes to the 2, right? So for people who say, no, the owner likes Shedeur, I'm like, that's crap. That's who threw him under the bus publicly, because we never needed to know that they took a big swing and missed with Deshaun Watson, and they used Deshaun Watson against Shedeur. So what they didn't expect, 3 million fans and followers, 250 in sales. Now, I don't know why they did not expect for him to bow out. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I feel like they knew he would. What they did not expect doing OTAs and mandatory camp is what? They did not expect the public to lean on Cleveland, to say, we want to see Shedeur. Why is he not throwing with the ones? They did not expect that accountability from the fans. Who do they think bought $250 million in jerseys? They did not expect people to show up for Shedeur, people who are NFL fans. And I'm getting ready to play a call from somebody who answered the question that I put out about the Fun Fest and what it says to you that Shedeur is giving back. And I want you to listen carefully to what you're hearing. And again, the NFL did not expect this. They did not expect this, right? Now you have the wife of one of the Cleveland Brown players speaking out, calling Shedeur a hero, right? They didn't expect all of this. They sold out their 8 open practices. They sold out in how long? 10 hours? 10 hours, all the tickets were gone for all the open practices in Cleveland. KFC for Shedeur, the event, he had a line of people. Shiloh's event, that was people out there for it. So I think if people had known about it, maybe more so, it would have been more people. And that's just them being who they are as individuals. It had nothing to do with the NFL. So the NFL clearly did not expect, the media in Cleveland clearly did not expect anybody to counter the false narratives that they are pushing. But it's happening. 250 million in jerseys. Fans, everybody, the media. That's what the media was saying during OTAs. He was a 5th round draft pick. The facility gone. And I told you why they gone. I told you why they were gone. People were saying, y'all are PR for Shedeur. We love it, because everybody else was still talking down on Shedeur, but not the facility. Not the facility. And in unison, they said on that show, they lied to us about Shedeur. Some of Cleveland media started to parrot, it's time to talk about the reality of Shedeur and not what they have said about Shedeur. Fans calling in saying, I heard what you're saying, but that's not what I'm seeing. He looks like he's good and he's a great kid. See, the lies are starting to, this whole plan is starting to backfire. And the biggest thing that they did not expect, even though they sold out 8 open practices in 10 hours, they ain't ready for this. They ain't ready for who gonna show up. They not ready. They not ready to see them jerseys. They not ready for people to watch these practices and see Shedeur ball out. If they don't let Shedeur Sanders show up with the ones, it's going to be a problem. A lot of people bought $250 million worth of jerseys. A lot of people were interested in going to their open practices, to the point they sold out all 8 open practices in 10 hours. Like it's a concert. I can't wait to see who show up. They're not expecting it. They're not expecting this either. Take a listen.
Ellen Tony, and we love your content. And this, unfortunately, is regarding the Fun Fest that Shedeur just provided. And what it says to me is that he is God's heart and joy. And both my sister and I follow Shedeur. We're praying for Shedeur, and we're grateful that he has become the man that he is, and that he stands tall in adversity and continues to strive forward towards excellence. Thank you, and continue with your hard work. Bye-bye.
I want to let it play again so you can hear where she's from.
Hi, this is two sisters from Tennessee, Mel and Tony, and we love your content. And this, unfortunately, is regarding the Fun Fest that Shedeur just provided. And what it says to me is that he is God's heart.
Where did she say she was from? Tennessee. Don't they have a team? Right. So you see, they're not ready for this. They are not ready for this. If Mary Cabot had to harass Shedeur about his loud and proud fan base, she wasn't counting this lady in. Now, I mean, I know sometimes it's kind of hard to determine who you listening to talk. It's not hard to determine she's from Tennessee, and I don't think. I don't think. I don't think. So you know what I'm saying, right? See, the player's wife who spoke up. He's white, she's white. This lady gives me every inkling that she very well might be as well. She calling from Tennessee, so I'm gonna definitely go with that. Add that to it, right? They not ready. They are not ready. Even though he sold 250 million in jersey sales, they still trying to hold him back. If the owner really and truly appreciated Shedeur for what he can do for this city, for his team, he will be wearing the number 2, and that number would be higher. That number would be higher. I have no doubt about it. So they not ready. They're going to do everything in their power. They are already doing everything in their power to continue with the same foolishness from OTAs. Oh, he didn't run with the ones. He's a 4th string quarterback. They're not ready. They're going to have to go to war with their fans. $250 million in jerseys. Divide the cost of the jersey up by 250 million. And how many people is that? If somebody can do it, let me know. Not I'll do it later. But that's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. It's backfiring. See, they want the face of the league to be who they want the face of the league. No. The most talked about player, period, is this young man right here. And his brother's doing the same thing in Tampa. Tampa said, oh, we don't think we'll have room for Shiloh. Even though he's 4th on the depth chart, it's not his skill set. We don't think we'll have room for him. I'm like, if he's 4th on the depth chart, y'all can play. Tampa loves Shiloh. In my opinion, Tampa doing more for Shiloh is doing more for Tampa than anybody else that went to that team this year. You rarely hear anybody talk about Tampa. They're only 6 hours from here. I should be hearing something. When you hear Shiloh, you think Tampa, and they saying they don't have room for him. Well, let's see. He was so excited that somebody bought his jersey, the number 28. I told you they don't care about the 21. Sure, it would have been nice to have, but you're not going to hold these guys back. When they did that KFC thing, I guarantee you somewhere tonight, there are some people on a call trying to figure the hell of what to do, because how are we going to cut them to? Let me see you do it. And that's going to show you how nasty they are. Shiloh's actually good. He ended up being, and the guy that they drafted, Emeka Egbuka, he actually ended up being in his commercial for Sony. I'm like, now all the footage y'all had of Emeka, y'all know Shiloh ended up in this ad, right? Because they had Shiloh to cover him for the commercial. So Shiloh ended up in the commercial anyway. They felt like if we devalue these players, we won't hear much about them. Excuse me? You said he was famous, or they were famous because of their dad. They standing on their own. They're good guys. They're fun, likable. They have their own content. They didn't just start. They have fans. I told y'all when Tampa comes to Atlanta, I'm going to try to be there just so I can show y'all who's outside. Because I want you to see There are people that wanted Shiloh to come to Atlanta because of Coach Prime. There were people that wanted Shedeur to come to Atlanta because of Coach Prime. It would have been like running it back if they both had arrived. And there was a scout in year one who was at CU who said, we want both of the Sanders boys. He represented the Falcons. For the Falcons not to even sign him unsigned, that tell you how nasty they are. People say this is about Coach Prime. No, it's not. Coach Prime is a scapegoat. So I got to choose somebody to make the story stick. It's not sticking because their talent outweighs the Bulls. The talent outweighs the BS. Cleveland is not ready. And I want to know the last time they sold out all open practices in 10 hours. I want to know the attendance, and I want to know when the last time they sold out that fast. Seriously. If they were smart, they would be talking about it. They would have a special section for Shedeur because he's going to have some people there. He's going to have some people there. Coach Prime is supposed to go to one of his practices. So we don't know if it's the first one, the second one, the sixth one, or the eighth one. But we know Coach Prime don't show up. They ain't ready for that either. They are not ready for that either because Coach Prime still has fans everywhere. Coach Prime still signs NFL helmets. Year one at CU, he went to an event. It was right before Christmas. He had a signing. He's a Hall of Famer. I watched him sign every helmet multiple times for every team that he played for, which means people are still buying these. He had helmets at Aflac, which means they gonna do something with them too. They're valuable. Everything they have is valuable. People wanted Shedeur to sign, and he really couldn't sign because he has. I do think it's the whole Panini endorsement because they want to make their autograph exclusive so that people will pay big money for Shedeur's cards. Shiloh too, but I don't know if he got the endorsement though. They normally give the endorsements to like the top players at the university. Not that Shiloh's not good. It's just they went with Travis and Shedeur from Colorado. Obvious reasons, right? Obvious reasons. So y'all heard the lady. She's from Nashville. If you're just now joining us, we're talking about, I'm going to play it one more time. If you're just now joining us, remember if you were on the call and if you were new to us, I shared the phone number. I think I remembered it. I shared our phone number for our back phone. And I asked people to leave me a message regarding what they thought about Shedeur Sanders bringing joy to so many of Cleveland's vulnerable population of citizens at the time because there was an explosion where they lived. And he just took a day. He worked with, looks like about 20 different vendors. If you look at the thank you list, it's about 20 different vendors. And just brought joy to these people. They were doing a little line dancing. He played football with those kids. They're not going to forget that. So this is what you're listening to. What you're listening for is where she's from and what group you think she belongs to. Because see, people think they have asked Shedeur in his face, why do people like you? Listen to what she said. Oh, what do you call your fans? Sanders Nation? They sure are loud and proud. Listen, just in case you're joining us. Just
enjoy. And both my sister and I, this is two sisters from Tennessee, Mel and Tony, and we love your content. And this, unfortunately, is regarding the Fun Fest that Shedeur just provided. And what it says to me is that he is God's heart and joy. And both my sister and I follow Shedeur. We're praying for Shedeur, and we're grateful that he has become the man that he is and that he stands tall in adversity and continues to strive forward towards excellence. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And continue with your hard work.
So, bye-bye. you know, I don't like to make assumptions. I'm gonna let you draw your own conclusions. But I will say this, right? They follow Shedeur. That's Tennessee. He could have went to Tennessee because Tennessee met with him. He could have went to Tennessee. They would be sold out had he been drafted there. But I told you he couldn't be 16. So they had to push him to 17. See, this tells you that the NFL, and I do mean the NFL underestimated this situation. They gravely and grossly underestimated. And I'm convinced that the NFL, Cleveland is just doing the NFL's bidding, trying to play keep away with QB1 for Shedeur. They never anticipated the fan response about the way he was treated in the draft, about the way he's being treated now, right? And they never anticipated so many people will hold them accountable for him not getting public first team reps. People have said, even on the facility, that is gone. I'm telling you, that is why they're gone. I'm telling you, that is why they're gone. You know what they said on the facility? They said, well, Chase Daniels said coaches lied. Basically, he was calling Stefanski a liar for saying Shedeur was going to get equal reps. What they were debating on the facility was, I have never seen a fifth round QB get an opportunity to compete with the starters. That does not happen. So they let him compete in verbiage only, because when it was time for him to compete with the ones, we didn't see it. Jerry Jeudy is scared to death to say what he really thinks about Shedeur. He was on Nightcap. We talked about that. That ought to tell you something. That ought to tell you why you haven't seen Jeudy approach Shedeur publicly while they were on the practice field. But you saw Njoku. He didn't give a damn what they thought. He like, what you gonna do to me? I'm a starter. What did Myles Garrett? He said great things about Shedeur. What they gonna do to him? They just signed him. So what they were trying to do in the locker room, in the field house, is set the tone. Don't gravitate towards him. And Njoku didn't care. Myles Garrett didn't care. He like, what the hell? You can tell me who I like? Forcing Jerry Jeudy to share a locker with Flacco, and Jerry Jeudy is the only one who will not say publicly anything. They got him on the ropes. So, the NFL grossly underestimated Shedeur and what he means to not just the 3 million people, right? What he means to a lot of people. If anybody can figure out 250 million divided by the cost of a jersey, let me know, because that's going to give us a good idea. And it's just going to keep going. There are people who probably want a jersey, but are waiting because Cleveland is so asinine. They act like we don't want you. Wait till they fans put 2 and 2 together. They're starting when the Cleveland fans figure out, he good. Who you think gonna show up the most? Probably people from the surrounding area, but there will be people flying in too. There are people who want to see for themselves what they were not allowed to see for OTAs. Y'all said a few podcasts is gonna be there. Proves my point. People are coming to see for themselves. Will they be allowed to record? Now that's interesting. So they grossly underestimated the situation. As you can hear, this lady does not live in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns are going to end up going to war if they are still continuing to be asinine. They're going to end up going to war with NFL fans. That woman lives in Tennessee. I live in Atlanta. Matter of fact, while you here, drop your favorite NFL team in the chat for me. Whoever you cheered for last year, drop the NFL team that you cheered for last year or that you cheer for this year in the chat for me, please. I want to see something. So there is a call this weekend, and it's probably between that management committee, right? And some other people, executives, right? Not the owners, right? Because the owners have I would say expertly shielded themselves, but I'm not gonna say it's expertly. Did y'all know it was something known as the NFL Draft Advisory Board? So I got a management committee that shields the owners because that they say, oh, that's who makes the decisions. That's who talks for labor relations, right? That shields the owner. And now Jerry sent me an article. Shout out to Jerry and Salafi today. They was on it. Sent me an article talking about Cam back in college. If any of y'all remember, Cam Ward was supposed to come out of college in 2024 until Shedeur told him not to. So the article goes on to talk about how Cam was severely undervalued in 2024. They thought he was going to be a third, fourth, fifth round pick. He was good when they evaluated him. So now the NFL Draft Advisory Board could be a shield from the owners because the owners going to say, well, that's what they told us, which is why the New York Giants, right after the draft, fired a lot of their scouts, fired several of their scouts, including the person at the top. So, like I said, they grossly underestimated what they did to Shedeur Sanders in the draft, humiliating him, devaluing him, discriminating against him. They grossly underestimated the people who would show up to ask questions, the people who are beginning to make demands. In OTAs, we want to see Shedeur. Are you hiding Shedeur from us? Why Shedeur not getting time with the ones? What the hell they think gonna happen in training camp? Because they better be ready. If they keep playing this game in training camp, this not gonna end well. It's not gonna end well. People been waiting for this. Nobody's talking about anybody else's training camp. I live here in Atlanta. We don't even want to talk about that one. We want to know about this right here. They're not ready. They're not ready. So Cleveland gonna end up going to war with NFL fans who getting ready to descend upon Cleveland, who getting ready to come from the surrounding areas to see are they gonna let this young man start. They couldn't even handle the press in OTAs. What happened? Stefanski said, well, yeah, he got first team reps, but y'all didn't see it because it was closed to the public. And then one of the media people said that's not true. He didn't get first team reps. Then they were arguing over, did he get first team reps with 7-on-7 or 11-on-11 or with defense? I'm like, so, okay, this is what's happening now. What you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to do? Because based on what I see, and I know some of y'all see it too, they grossly underestimated this situation. $250 million in jersey sales ought to tell you that there are a lot of people expecting to see this young man play who already know he's a star on the field because they wouldn't have bought his damn jersey. Do you see what I'm saying? And they still was playing, doing camp, and I think they still be playing. Oh, Stefanski wants Dillon. Keep him. Andrew Berry wants to get somebody else. Okay. That means Shedeur is not their solution. So you're going to sell $250 million in jersey to God knows how many people. And he not your solution. It's funny how the fans know exactly who Shedeur is. And what did the lady say? What was she nice enough to say? I want him to continue to stand tall in the face of adversity. Everybody sees it. It was hard to not see it on draft night, and it's still continuing. That's the point. In the face of adversity, not past tense. When he faced adversity, that's not what she said. In the face of adversity, which means people still see it. They're not ready. They are not ready. This is the one time there's nothing the NFL can do to duck and dodge the fact that they severely devalue a first round pick, a first year starter that the fans know is good. They are somewhere trying to figure out what to do. Because if I let him start, he is going to be number 17 of 32. Anthony Richardson is supposed to be back. But they like, no. The Indianapolis didn't say he was back. Didn't Deshaun Watson say he was back too? Oh, no. He probably not going to play. Why they haven't ruled him out yet? So we are either getting ready to witness 17 to 32, or they going to try their best to repeat what they did with their quarterbacks in what year? 2023 and 2024. Because thanks to the comment section today, I had no choice but to study the 2024 section, and it was tragic. 4 quarterbacks rotated in 2024. And guess how many times they were sacked? A total of 4 quarterbacks. What was the total number that they were sacked? 66 times. That's crazy. That is why I don't want Shedeur doing nothing for Cleveland until we know what that O-line is going to do. Because one, you can't trust it, because you can see they still trying to hold them back. So why all of a sudden would they make an about face? So you can't trust it. You can't trust it. So you got to let some other people go first, so you can see if the O-line is going to prove competent. Because if they are competent through 7 games and Shedeur get out there in game 8 and suddenly they don't know how to play ball, oh, it's going to be a problem. The NFL is under a microscope. Cleveland is under 2 microscopes, and I'm holding one of them. This woman is from Tennessee. She sees that he still has to stand tall because he's still dealing with adversity. People see it. She knows he's good. They're not ready. So let's see how desperate they are to make sure Shedeur is not the 17th starting quarterback. Are they going to hold back somebody else? Anthony Richardson, perhaps, even though he say he ready, then they're going to have a problem with him. Because if he say he ready and the doctors say he not, it's going to be a problem. See, with Anthony Richardson out, it drops it down and would make Shedeur what Cam is, 16. With Anthony Richardson, Shedeur 17. So let's see how desperate they are. Let's see how desperate they are. Because they are playing keep away with QB1. They are planning to rotate all of their quarterbacks because they don't want to cut Dylan. They don't want to cut Kenny Pickett. I guess they care about their feelings. They care more about their feelings than they care about winning games. They never thought Dylan would be a starter. So if they make Dylan a starter to keep Shedeur out the way, just like on the Heisman stage, let's see how that work out. There is a scenario where every quarterback they have could fail and go down. And we're not wishing it on nobody. But we got to look at who's there. They're so insistent on saying he's a 4th string quarterback. But they already know he's better. But they want to keep up the rules. Flacco is 42. Haven't played a full season since 2017. Kenny is Kenny Pickett, right? Let me be respectful. Kenny Pickett is Kenny Pickett. Dylan was never expected to be a starter. All they expect him to do is hand off the ball to the running backs. And they minus a running back right now. And they did not sign Nick Chubb. And then we have Deshaun, who they don't want to play because they don't want Deshaun to ball out. Because it would prove them a lie. Deshaun said he good. And then there's Shedeur. So we shall see. Y'all know that's my motto. Let me see what y'all saying in the comments. Thank you for the 133 people hanging out. 133. Hit the like button for me, please. Thank you. Drop your NFL team that you cheered for last year or that you plan to cheer for this year. Even if it's the same, just drop the name of the team. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. So let's see who's in here tonight. All right. Let's see. We have. Hey, how you doing, Elijah? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Tina. Hey, Gracie. How you doing? Amber. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Jam, how you doing? Hit the like button. Thank you, Jam. I appreciate that, Crowley. Welcome back. I see you at the squad is in the house tonight. Thank you. Thank you. No Limit Soldier. It said hello. Shannon Sharpe could have gave the money to young black kids that needed it. Thank you, Shedeur. Facts. He could have gave it to his daughter. See, right before the case came out, Shannon Sharpe's daughter was getting married, and he scoffed on his own show. He was like, "I'm not giving her all this money for a wedding." I was like, "Well, that's ugly, right?" Did he end up giving it to who? Karma. Karma. That's all I'm gonna say. That was your daughter, and you end up giving this young lady more than the cost of your daughter's wedding for sure, right? So, you got to think about it. You were an NFL player. You missed a lot of things. You missed a lot of things, right? Because the job came first. You probably missed some birthdays. You probably missed some Christmases, missing pageants. You weren't there because you was where? Getting ready for camp, on the road, doing this, that, and the other. So why not? Why not give her a fabulous wedding that she wanted? Because she's probably level-headed enough that she wasn't asking for anything extravagant. But now you got to pay this OnlyFans model. Should have paid your daughter. So that's that. So a lot of people showed up. They could have. Shedeur chose to, right? I heard there was some criticism. I didn't listen to it, but I heard there was some criticism. But you can't criticize that. Like I said, let me find out that there is a player in the NFL that grew up in those apartments, grew up around those apartments, and chose not to help. See, the NFL has succeeded, along with college football, in turning these guys' minds into individualism. They're not community oriented no more. When they hit the league, they were no longer community oriented. Russell Wilson is. So you're making a choice. You don't have to be this. They were like this in college. Oh, y'all competing against each other, so y'all can't be down for each other, right? How many people kneel with Colin Kaepernick? Okay, there you go. They have succeeded, which is why when these guys leave the league, too many of them don't even know who they are. I was like, is there something in the water? No, they're making choices to hide themselves, shrink themselves, so they can get this non-guaranteed contract that says, I can take back your guarantees, earned or unearned, at any moment in time. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. How many QBs you think were out there amongst the kids? Zero. There was one other player out there, Mike Paul, but I don't know who that is. And if there was another quarterback out there, I didn't see him. But people around the league, like I said, somebody's wife that plays for Cleveland said that, she called him a hero. Some of them so scared to speak up. What are you holding on to? Your contract not guaranteed. Like, what are you holding on to? That's the kind of people they want. I told y'all at the draft, somebody, when they were coming in on the carpet, was like, I'm willing to do anything and everything. I'm like, no, that's just sad. That's just sad. I wonder if they one of the ones that one got drafted, 2 in the second round, and 3 still holding out. Did Tyler Shaw sign his contract yet? Did Michael Parsons get his contract yet? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Hey, Joyce, how you doing? DJ Dale said, checking in late. Thank you. Love the content. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Max said, it is not about the kids and the fans. If it's not about the kids and the fans, Shedeur and Shiloh's response should be what? Not response to that question. They don't owe the NFL nothing. Nah, they don't owe the NFL nothing. And I'm telling you, after that KFC challenge, It's people trying to figure out how to suppress these young men. And I'm telling you what they think they're gonna do. Well, what they thought. See, they thought they was gonna cut Shedeur before they even broke. See, they didn't plan to draft it. They had already pivoted away from him. That's why when he was on the Rush, I think the guy from Vegas, when he was on his podcast, that's why Shedeur said when he did his QB wide receiver duo, he picked Chris Olave and Derek Carr, and then DK Metcalf. I don't know. Must be him. Must be him. So he thought he was going to go to one of those teams, and the Saints came on late. I don't know why, but we talked about it. A lot of people felt like he was going to be where? New Orleans. Yeah. So it was something was said. Something was happening. So I'm just waiting to see how long they're going to take to make this right, because they're going to make it right. They're going to make it right one way or the other. You either going to make it right voluntarily and you're going to stop, or you're going to move on to somebody else, because you're going to get somebody. But you thought that this was a guy you could get and nobody would hold you accountable. This plan has so bad. It has backfired so poorly. It's backfired. It was I don't know who they let come up with this harebrained scheme to take the #1 overall pick coming out of college, whose last name is Sanders. And they know Coach Prime. They didn't do no research on him. He got 3 million fans and followers. Or are they arrogant enough to think, well, we got how many? Did you not see what happened to Target? Target made way more money than the NFL. It still hurt them to the point that they slashed their CEO's salary by 45%. I was looking for something today, right? I had a choice on where I could go. It wasn't Target, intentionally. And I got the Target first and still passed it up and went to Home Goods. Yeah, we serious. We are serious. So they don't take into consideration that they tried to take down a young man that so many people truly like, right? It's not that he just has his aura on 1,000. That's part of it for the younger generation, because a lot of people don't even, worry about aura. We know he's good. He was supposed to be the #1 overall pick until they decided to intensify they meddling, because they was already meddling to keep him off the Heisman stage so he wouldn't be considered #1. And guess who the other person was? Dylan. We already knew coming out of college that Shedeur was better than Dylan, and they trying to convince us, the Cleveland's biased media is trying to convince us that Dylan is better than Shedeur. Did y'all not study any of these people? Cam was severely undervalued coming out of 2024. Tennessee don't talk about him now, and they didn't talk about him in the draft. They didn't want Shedeur to be #1, so they used Cam to block. In college, they didn't want Shedeur to be on that Heisman stage. They used Dylan. Cleveland using Dylan, Kenny Pickett, and 42-year-old Joe Flacco, who's a part-time quarterback because he has not played a full season since 2017. All three of them are blocking Shedeur. And at one point, it seemed like people were entertaining getting Kirk Cousins. Did you not watch Atlanta last year? Like, it don't matter if they fail. They just got to block Shedeur. That is the goal. Playing keep away with QB1. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to go, because these people have messed up and don't know when to quit. You either going to see them let him start and you're not going to realize it, but I don't know. They over here playing with somebody else because they are serious about this 17 of 32. And they already trying to set it up for 2026. So this is like two trains coming down the same track, getting ready to collide. What matters to the NFL? Not talent and not winning. But when you have people like this lady on this call from Tennessee, who seems different than me and some of y'all, right? When you have a player's wife who's white coming out and saying Shedeur is a hero and her husband plays for Cleveland, who you finna go to war with? Because you didn't care what we thought. because he looked like us. So you didn't care what we thought. But see, now the people that you thought was sniggling on draft night, or the people who didn't see draft night, but they are Cleveland fans. I don't know where they were. And now you thought they were gonna be okay with you holding Shedeur back. Them people want to win. We already talked about how they had 12 quarterbacks in 4 seasons. They didn't just rotate 5 quarterbacks in 2024. They rotated 4. No, 2023. They rotated 4 in 2024. Sacked 66 times. All quarterbacks that rotated in 2024 was sacked 66 times. So if that was one quarterback, he would have been sacked 66 times. That's right up there with who? Caleb. Is he a Williams? Caleb Williams out of Chicago. Bryce Young out of Carolina. Justin Fields. And I said to myself, this was early today. We were talking about, it's just mind-boggling a little bit what it is that they care about. Because Cleveland don't care about winning, which means they don't care about their fans. They got the QB1 right here. Unless, like I said, they doing all of this charades because they're going to put him out there and pay him $4 million to hand them a championship. But I'm telling y'all, that ain't it. Because they would have gave him a number 2 and made that. They probably would have made about $300 million off that number 2. Probably 4, maybe, because I wanted the 2. I still want the 2. Are they going to screw over the people that just got the 12? Remember, Cleveland said the number could change. So we were like, what is their motivation? You don't care about talent. You don't care about winning. What the hell do you care about? This is a competitive sport. And I thought to myself, I say, so they don't care about their fans. They don't care about NFL fans. I say they don't care about the American fans. That's what it is. Because they get ready to play 7 games overseas. They going global. So they no longer going to have to care about the issues that plague the NFL when it comes in their minds, because they probably didn't do no homework. So they feel like, well, you know what? We playing 7 games overseas. We going global. So we're not going to really have to worry about the issues that we typically have to face in America. I forgot what city it is in Ireland where they are playing one of their games. They elected a black mayor. People in other countries are bolder than we are when it comes to these types of things, right? I think it's France, even though they're not playing in France. I think France doesn't even ask about race. And mind you, they've latched on to Africa, NFL Africa, but they're treating it just like it's an HBCU. I'm only going to take the bodies. Let me see them take a quarterback from Africa. They haven't done it. They brag about how many players they have from the continent of Africa in the NFL by way of the UK, because they have a program in Africa, but they have never played 1 game in Africa. Nigeria has a beautiful stadium. They just want the bodies, which is what they take from HBCU. So it's the same thing. They get ready to go global with the same bullshit. When Cleveland replaced the reporter that was harassing Shedeur with microaggressions, creating a toxic workplace, and he deserves to have a non-toxic, harassment-free workplace, they replaced her with a young man named Daniel Oyefuse. I looked at who works for Cleveland. So I already see the play. We'll just bring in more people from Africa and less African Americans, and we should be okay. But the one position they can't hold back is the black quarterback. Black quarterbacks are not the majority, but they have ascended to the majority of the starters. So while they still on stateside in America, they still have the same problem that they trying to escape overseas and pollute that environment. Football is not a first love for any of these countries that they're playing in. Soccer is. But they want to get more market share. But they're using the same play that they used in America, devaluing Black bodies. So I'm interested to see. You don't care what we think, obviously. Even if they Cleveland fans, they don't care anyway. So now what you're seeing is more white people starting to speak up. Before the facility was cut, Chase Daniels was there the same day when they were talking about they lied to us about Shedeur. And he said it himself. Yeah, they lied to us about Shedeur. Chase Daniels is white. So they were willing to ignore Black people calling out, looking for accountability where Shedeur is concerned. So now you're starting to see white people speak up. We shall see. We shall see how desperate they are and who they are willing to forsake just to prevent Shedeur Sanders and any other Black quarterback this year from ascending to a starting QB that they weren't last year. If you weren't a starting QB last year, if you came into the draft, you're an addition. You paying attention, they stacking Black quarterbacks on the same team all over the place. So we're going to see. They're not ready. They're going to have to go to war with the fans. And I say Cleveland is going to have to go to war with NFL fans because you heard what this lady said. She lives in Tennessee. So that's it right there. That's it. It said the Browns are cooked. They got him for cheap. They're done. Right. And they call that lightning in a bottle. And you would think they would celebrate. Oh, we got him for $4 million. Let's put him out there. We got a good quarterback for $4 million. They call that lightning in a bottle. Why are they not happy about that? So let's see if they playing charades and lying in Dylan's face, lying in Pickett's face, lying in Flacco's face, and they knew they was going to push Shedeur out there all along. Let's see. They didn't get any wide receivers in the draft. They didn't get any O-linemen who were like first rounders or hell, even second rounders, right? Because they didn't prioritize. Like I said, they got the sides. They didn't get the entree in the draft. They had a Black man that can think and choose himself. That's exactly what Quinshon Judkins said to a certain extent. When he left Ole Miss, he said, some people don't want you to think for yourself. So that's it. That is it. If each of us shares the link to the podcast, that we might be able to get What She Said Sports to 4,000 sooner rather than later. Thank y'all. Yep. If you're new, you're hanging out in the background. I'm this close to 4,000, which I'm excited to celebrate. So subscribe to the channel and get me to 4,000. Or you can give me the 4,050, but I'll take 4,000. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It says, Max says, what really killed them was the neighborhood giveaway with his own money. Yeah, because they don't want these Black players. One, they don't want them to be united in the league. And they don't want them doing for their own community. If they did, the Cleveland Browns would have been out there and asked a few players to come along with them. But because of the population that's vulnerable, they didn't care, even though they were kids. They know nobody has ever been to their practices. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the numbers on that. Let's see if we ever hear it. Thank you, Amber. Everything has backfired. I agree. I think everything has backfired. I do. I believe everything has backfired. We can show them about Shedeur better than we can tell them, right? And the thing is, I don't understand how they don't know who he is. When you vet people like they claim to vet people, Whatever's going on with Quishon Junkins, if it's not new, they should have known, right? They should have known Shedeur has a heart of gold. He does this all the time. He loves kids. When Shedeur first got to Cleveland, do you know there was Cleveland Browns media that were upset? Well, why does he have to film that he's at a school? Like they didn't know he did that. He was in Miami everywhere he went. And they don't know. What do y'all do all day? Besides, think of ways to hold back your black players. What do y'all do all day? And the black players you see them walking towards are the ones that they feel like that they can control. That's the difference. It's just slave plantation mentality. Choosing one black person, pitting them against all the other slaves. That's really what it is, right? And getting that person to feel like I don't have to care about you, and don't want them to care about each other. Slaves weren't supposed to be singing. They had no idea that slaves were out here taking whatever they left over and turning it into healthy meals, right? Think about, if you ever watched a movie about slavery, how when white people came around, they were different. Code switching. That's why we code switch today. So they feel like they're going to take one person. They made Jerry Judy share a locker with Joe Flacco, and it's supposed to be a competition. And when they had Jerry Judy to share a locker with Flacco, at the time they said Kenny Pickett was going to be starter, so they lied in his face. That's why they didn't cut him. And now you have Kirk Cousins running around saying they lied to him, that he would have stayed himself in Minnesota if he would have known they were going to draft Michael Penix Jr. See, what you have are the people that they use against these black players. So they pit black players against each other, right? That's first and foremost. They separate them. They don't want them to take care of their communities. They don't want them to stand up for each other, which is why you only saw this many people kneel with Colin Kaepernick, right? It's the same playbook from a plantation. That's why they have contracts that when you work at plantation A for 5 years, you get XYZ dollars. You stuck to that contract. And if you want to leave, I'm going to walk you over to plantation B and you're going to make the same money and not 2 cents more until you work this off. That's not normal. It's even documented. It's documented. Traditional employees would not, regular employees that are not in the NFL would not sign anything like that. It's documented. So they messed up. They messed up. They have messed up, to be honest. James said the NFL Players Association's chief strategy officer, J.C. Trotter, just stepped down 3 days after Howard resignation. Oh, okay. FBI combing through a 161-page document. Is that the same? Is that the same document? The collusion document? Oh, you may be talking about something else. Where did you see that, James? I'm gonna need you to share a link for that because that's interesting to see. That is interesting to see. Drop the source. Oh, Associated Press 18 minutes ago. So, Players Association officer, chief strategy officer J.C. Treader just stepped down 3 days after Howard's resignation. He was the leader, right? So the leader stepped down. The chief strategy officer stepped down. The FBI is combing through a 160-page of documents. I wonder if that's documents that could be a part of the discovery for if it has anything regarding Shedeur, but maybe it doesn't because he doesn't work there. That's interesting. That's very interesting that it's the FBI. It's very interesting. When you start to see who these people are connected to at the top, it's a lot of politicians in Congress and in places like that. So this is good news. It's interesting news, and it makes me. I don't side eye it, but I kind of think to myself. So what is this really about? Who's really behind this? Right? Interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for the source, James. Thank you so much. Oh wow, she a fan for real. Yeah, she's that like Tennessee. See, they think his fans are just Colorado fans. That's what they thought. That's what they thought. And I don't know, because 3 million people at Colorado, they don't have 3 million fans themselves. So what the hell? What the hell? So yep, she's a fan for real, Amber. She sure is. Hey, how you doing, Freeman Harris? Welcome back. It said BJ Riggs. It said they about to have some mess on their hands. People been saying all weekend that they ready to ride about theirs. What? Yep. And see, now I don't know how you sell $250 million in jerseys and switch. I don't think they're gonna be able to switch like that. I don't think the NFL in Cleveland is going to do what they thought they were going to do. And mind you, their little plot got foiled in the draft. Yeah. They little plot, they had to take him. He wasn't on the board. How did he get to Cleveland? I can't wait. I hope that lawsuit that's out there just take one more step. Take one more step. Because you got the FBI on one track and you got this $100 million lawsuit on another track. I just need that lawsuit to take one more step. Get as close to discovery, or let them think you're going to get close to discovery. Yep. That's what needs to happen. And it should happen. I don't know why it hadn't happened yet. Yep, they're about to have some mess on their hand. No, Amber, she's not black. And that's what I mean by they did not expect this. They did not expect this. For all the things that were said after the draft, they didn't care what nobody thought. They didn't care what we thought. Maybe nobody else said nothing, but they didn't give a damn what we thought. They didn't give a damn about they black fans who would like Shedeur. Just because you don't want the players to unite, you can't control what the fans think. And now you see it's people that look like them. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. That's what I meant. They finna go to war with their fans. They don't care what we thought. That's obvious. And black fans ought to hold them accountable, because we told you and you didn't listen. That wasn't right. But you didn't care what we thought. You sent him to Cleveland after the draft and continued the same bullshit. And that's what they did. And now you want to go overseas with it. You exploiting talent out of Africa just like they do diamonds, but you don't want to go ahead on and get you a quarterback or play a game over there. Just like they do HBCUs. It's the same playbook. And you think you're going to pit Black Americans against Africans. Okay. You see who went over to Shedeur while he was on the field? Njoku? Okay. You cannot disrupt the culture that you do not know. And that's what they think they doing, that they going to pit African Americans against Africans. African American, African, the first word, black, don't matter. But that's what they thought until Cleveland got a chance to see it ain't going to work like you think, boo. It ain't going to work like you think, because I'm over here trying to figure out if I could go to the Jama Piano, and that's supposed to be for Jamaicans and Africans. I'm like, well, I want to go. I want to go. Can we come? So don't think you know us like that. Don't do that to yourself. Well, then go ahead and do it then. Just go ahead and do it then. How you doing, Val C? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? It said the rejected will be respected. Yep. God is blessing Shedeur. Yep, for sure. For sure. Right? For sure. Like Shedeur said, he's growing stronger in his faith. Why? Because of the trials that he has been through. See, Shedeur could have came into the league. He could have went number 2, but then he wouldn't know who he dealing with. See, he wouldn't know who he dealing with. Now he know who he dealing with. Now he sees who he needs to stay away from. Now he sees when he can't stay away from him, he know how to move. See, I love when people show me who they are. Because you going to look up and I ain't going to be there. If I walk away from you, I ain't coming back. That's just how it's going to go, because I see who you are. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. They reeled his dad in at that weekend. They reeled him in too. And then they just pushed him down flights of stairs. That's the equivalent. You think you with a friend, family. He grew up around these people. But now he know. Shiloh too, they know how to move. I think they had no expectations. They just went out there and worked their best. I don't think either one of them would cry. And I think the Sanders will start Primetime Football League or Sanders football, something. And they don't want that, because just like this nice lady calling from Tennessee on my podcast, I'm just not asking y'all to get me to 4,000. She's a representative of a lot of people out there, including people who bought $250 million in jerseys. They're not ready. So Bucky was right. The rejected will be respected. Hey, Marlon, how you doing? He said, my apologies for being away. It's okay. We're glad to have you back. I took a little vacation too, even though I was still here. I was still here. It's allowed, but thank you, Marlon. BJ said, oh, they talking. Okay. People saying hi to people in the chat. We have memberships. Join us. If you're gonna hang out with us, it's gonna be a fun football season. And I'm preparing for the season. So think about becoming a member. So, it's no commitment. You commit for a month, commit for 2 years. It's up to you. It don't matter. And if you're one of my supporters via Cash App, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you a lot. All I'm doing is just getting this channel to the next level. So yeah. So just know, I might end up in Charlotte. I might not. I don't know. But that's what your support goes towards, like getting me out there front and center to bring y'all like live coverage. So I think that's the next step, right? I mean, we already did that. I was in New Orleans doing interviews, but to continue it. So thank y'all so much. And to the 139 people, please hit the like button. And if you're just watching, please subscribe. And if you already know who we are, become a member. If you like what you hear, become a member. We have members only live streams every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The last one was 2 hours long. We be talking. I can't say everything here. So that's where the member live stream come in. So just, understand. And that's a lot of good perks already, but there's already some more perks coming for the different membership levels. So some of y'all might want to upgrade your membership. I think I could tell y'all what it is. Okay, so if you are a family member of what she said, we'll have family members coming on during the season with me, and we'll be talking about, what we talk about. We always want to talk about the games. So if you're a family member or consider becoming a family member, family members, one of the perks is being a family member, which is the highest level, is to go live with me, and we'll be on the screen, likely not debating, but laughing and talking about, whatever game that we're going to talk about. Colorado football. I already told 400 Circle Media that he's a Jets fan. So, I'm watching the Jets. If you don't know, I follow the quarterbacks. So I follow the quarterbacks. I follow the Colorado Buffs. I follow pro Colorado Buffs that are in the NFL that played under Coach Prime. So that's a lot of games to kind of take in. So consider upgrading your membership. I already sent out the first email. I need PL to email me too at whatshesaid404@gmail.com. I already sent out the first email toward that fact of having What She Said Sports family members come on. And you'll be live with me. You'll be a guest analyst live with me if you are a family member. So you'll get the invite. All right. So thank y'all. So if you hear guys say, you might want to become a member. Feel free to do it. Or if you don't know who that is, if that little small voice inside is talking to you, then consider becoming a member. And you can always change it too. So if you like, well, I just want to do this for a little bit. So we still put it together, the criteria, but it definitely starts with family members. Y'all will be guest analysts. So y'all get to share your opinion. Max said 89. Okay. Okay. It said men like Coach Prime are a threat to the natural order of things. Yeah, they scared to death of Coach Prime. That's obvious. That's obvious. I don't even know why you would try to man like that. Somebody like Coach Prime. I'm telling you, I told y'all when I saw Coach Prime talking to his business partner, I said it's a business deal. The next thing you know, this man has Prime on Wilson tennis rackets. He had that's what it's called. Prime tennis racket. That's what it's called when you look it up online. Why would you try somebody who has reached far beyond the sports that they played? Why would you try somebody that went to an HBCU and had ESPN show up to that HBCU for the first time ever? Who had Jackson State games on TV? Who had Under Armour giving the team what they needed? Who had The Rock when he started his league showing up to get to know the players? Because some of them probably, I think, did end up there, right? Who had Michael Strahan outfitting the teams in tailored suits, right? Who had Barstool Sports, Amazon Prime creating shows behind it? Who had Canes sponsoring, dropping little parachutes with discounts at the game? All these sponsorships that they might not have now, that he brought with him. Why would you try somebody like that? Then he go to Colorado and do the same thing. Colorado generated $90 million in the first 30 days of Coach Prime there. He got there in December. Football season was over. Why would you try somebody like that? Arrogance. And now what James just shared with us, that they're I guess the FBI is looking through some documents. That's interesting. That's very interesting. That is very, very interesting. Absolutely time to turn things right side up. Yep, that's what they doing. It's their prime a goat when it comes to raising kids, right? Which is why his program is successful, which is why you don't hear any negatives coming out of the program. You don't hear about students rushing in, running into people's houses in their cars and this, that, and the other. People tried to say Carmani was speeding and he wasn't even speeding. They look for things, but there's nothing there, right? And he'll give players an opportunity that maybe didn't had issues somewhere else. And, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You just got to, make sure that person don't disrupt what you have. But he's very serious, especially this year. If you pay attention to the videos, you even hear Swayze telling the players, we're looking for those who are going to tap out, and we're looking for those who are going to disrupt and dissuade others. They serious about the energy. They don't want any turncoats. They don't want anybody betraying them at all. And I just heard, I read a post or watched a video that they said there were some safeties or whatever, I guess cornerbacks. There were some people on defense that were jealous of Travis. So that has already been said. It's documented. I guess it was an article with DJ McKinney or like a video with DJ McKinney. So yeah, they had some people that had some bad blood. That'll mess it up. And I told y'all, I felt like people were making decisions that they didn't need to make. I wouldn't even say they're making business decisions because they were ruining their own chances. Jealousy. Coach Prime is big on that. He like, even if you go to the league, you can't dictate when you gonna play. So no need to try to sabotage anybody or be jealous of anybody here. What's his name? LaJohntay talked about he struggled at first, not on the field. He struggled with not being the go-to guy because he came from a smaller school where he was the go-to guy, but he wasn't the go-to guy, and they spread the ball around, and he admittedly he struggled with that. So it was some bad blood out there. I think Travis and Shedeur were such stars and so in sync because they came from Jackson State together. I think that intimidated a lot of people. That's why a lot of people that are vocal now were not vocal when they were there. And they weren't bad people, but there was the aura, like they were superstars already. Remember, the Denver Broncos showed up in 2023 to work out. That's huge. He even had his kids sign for him. Oh, you talking about the helmets? Yeah. I enjoy watching him do that. I was like, I didn't know he played for all those teams. I didn't know Coach Prime played for Baltimore. Y'all said, right? Shannon Sharpe too. I didn't know that. I saw where the news wrote that they the haters are waiting to see how Coach Prime will do without his boys Shiloh, Shedeur, Travis, and Jimmy. Yep, that's why. That's why. I think the TV. Last year all their games were on TV. It seemed like they have like the first several, right? It's like they waited to see how they do because the media don't think that they're gonna do good. That's why we rank number 11. That's insane, bro. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, if they paid attention to Jackson State, they wouldn't do that. But they want to ignore Jackson State so badly. If they paid attention to it, it shows. The man turns around programs, high school, Jackson State, Colorado, but they don't want to look at nothing but 2023. That's all they want to look at. Even with Travis and Shedeur, we were 6-6. Without them, we're 6-6. So it's not about Travis and Shedeur. It's not about Travis and Shedeur. So we're gonna get ready to get out of here. This was good. Just in case you're just now joining us, I'm going to play one more time the audio that we collected after we captured via voicemail on our back phone. What She Said Sports has a private phone that we use, and we give out the number on certain podcasts so that y'all can leave us messages about the thoughts on the topic that we're discussing at the time. And the question was, what does it say to you that Shedeur Sanders chose to bring joy to Cleveland's most vulnerable community after there was an explosion at an apartment complex? And this is what she said. And I think I chose this particular call. We had several. I chose this call because I felt like it would kind of speak to you guys when I say they not ready. They severely underestimated this scenario that they created to keep Shedeur away from the QB1 position. Take a listen, and then we're going to wrap up.
Hi, this is two sisters from Tennessee, Mel and Tony, and we love your content. And this, unfortunately, is regarding the Fun Fest that Shedeur just provided. And what it says to me is that he is God's heart and joy. And both my sister and I follow Shedeur. We're praying for Shedeur, and we're grateful that he has become the man that he is, and that he stands tall in adversity and continues to strive forward towards excellence. Thank you, and continue with your hard work.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bye-bye.
So that's it. I felt like her call pointed out that the NFL did not do a good job, even though you could see they orchestrated the whole devaluation of Shedeur Sanders. They clearly discriminated against him. They colluded against him. They defamed him. They clearly did not think about the consequences of their actions. And they didn't think about the fans that they lured to come watch the draft, exploiting Shedeur for clicks, right? They didn't think about when he got to Cleveland, even though they still trying to play QB1, they didn't think about not only how the Cleveland fans would feel, but Shedeur Sanders fans would feel. And this lady is a representation of that. She lives in Tennessee. They have a team. What did she say? We, not I, we follow Shedeur Sanders. So we're going to get out of here. These folks not ready. I can't wait till we get to the first open practice. I know there'll be some podcasters there that cover Colorado. There'll be some that cover Shedeur in the NFL, some exclusively covering Shedeur from the NFL. Going forward, there'll be people, some of the people that bought the $250 million jerseys will be there. Coach Prime is supposed to be there. We don't know which one. So I'll be ear to the ground. Let me know what you know. Don't forget, you can always email me at whatshesaidsports@404. If you see anything that you think will be insightful. Shout out to the media team. Last couple of days, Jerry and Salafi just killing it, and Tina also too. Thank y'all so much. And I'll be back tomorrow. Keep your notifications on because I might pop up earlier than usual, but you can guarantee 10:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the daily live stream, the Night Vibe will be right here. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your support. Have a good night. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.